Hello everybody and welcome back to Juno, where I was just taking a look at the missions that we have available here, and we could do comsats, cubesats, small sats. To be honest, I'm not very interested in continuing to do these for right now. These are very, very simple missions. I kind of want to do some progression here. So let's get started on a Luna flyby. So we're going to grab this, and that is going to be interesting. Now the question is, does this thing have the DV to get there? Well, I definitely want to make some alterations to it. We are going to need to get rid of approximately 1 trillion extremely tediously selected CubeSats. So that is, going to be a thing. This is going to save us a lot of payload space. And we're probably going to ditch the fairing overall as well. Are we? Because we can jettison the fairing. The nose cone we don't jettison unless we were to put in an interstage there. And I'm not sure that we want to do that. Maybe we just keep the fairing and just launch it basically as is. So this is definitely going to be a little tedious to remove all of these CubeSats, but I think what I'm going to do here is we're going to focus primarily on progression missions at this point. And the rest of these missions, because we know that it does like to repeat at certain points and things like that, so the rest of these missions we're going to do if and when we need the money. Is, I think, going to be the way we're going to do it. I'd like to get some progression done in this. So that is going to be the plan there. So we're going to get rid of all of these CubeSats, and that will be wonderful. We should probably have some form of solar on this. And I don't think we have any, retractable power panels, do we? No. I'm interested in potentially getting some. So let's put the fairing back on for now. Let's save this craft as a small sat launcher. And let's head into the tech tree. Because I'm interested in seeing about deployable... Looks like this. Yeah, deployable solar panel arrays. Beautiful. So we'll unlock that and we'll head right back in. So we just need a couple of solar panels out to the side here. And that should be more than sufficient. So these are apparently 12K in their default configuration. So this would be the default configuration here. But to be honest, I think we don't need it to be quite that much. So this is basically the same cost, but it's a lot lighter, actually. Okay, so 50% size. And the array length can be 75%. That feels about right in terms of the size. We've got the folds angles here, but for now I'm not too concerned about that one. And then we can change the number of rows and the number of columns as well. Okay. So I'm really not too fussed about it. We just need a small source of power. So something like this is fine. This is way lighter and relatively cheap. So we would then have this be in radial mode, and it would be something like that. Now, the real question is, if we were to go into... I don't know how much those CubeSats actually weighed. The real question is, do we have the Delta V to do a flyby of Luna here? I suspect we might. So let's put this out on the alley pad, and let's lift this guy right on up and see what we've got. The DV is definitely going to be interesting, no doubt about that. But let's lift this guy on out of here. We'll put it at about a, actually I'm going to put it at a 40-degree angle. Actually, I'm going to put it at a 10-degree angle. It is actually rolling with the gyroscope up there, so that is definitely noted. In which case, we're going to target more 60 degrees for this stage. Okay. I was expecting it to just go straight up without actually turning, but apparently this is now turning. So that's good to know. And this way we can get ourselves some lateral velocity, which is always going to be good. Wonderful. I want to move us over into orbital mode here. Why was orbital prograde way up here? That's a little wild. But okay. We're going to be losing these side boosters very shortly. They are throttling down currently. Just waiting for them to completely burn out, although that's probably not efficient to do. But there we go. And then this is, of course, beginning to throttle down as well. So, at this point, we can see that our apoapsis is currently significantly high. I do want to move this to about a, well, 0 degree pitch. Which apparently we can't do. It's going between 1 and -1. Okay, I guess we'll go to a 1 degree pitch. Seems fine. So our SRBs are basically gone at this point. There we go. And off we go. Are we high enough to ditch our fairing? Well, probably, if I had to guess. But I'm going to wait until 80, so that'll be fine. So we can see that our thrust to weight is exactly 1 at this juncture. That's fine. So we're at 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, and 80. Goodbye, fairing. We don't need that mass. Excellent. So this is a very light payload. The question is, do we have enough DV in it? Also, I want to activate these solar panels. Yes. And it didn't activate this one? Okay. Now, there's a solar panel group that we can activate. I'm not sure how to do that. I'm sure we'll figure it out eventually. So that looks fine for now. We're just going to continue to accelerate up in orbital velocity. We can see that our lateral velocity is getting up there nicely. Cool. So that is all looking good. We're just going to get ourselves a bunch of horizontal speed until we get into an orbit. I don't really care what orbit we end up being in, as long as we're in one. So for now, that seems good. Although circularized would probably be best. So what we're probably going to end up doing is continue to accelerate up until we reach an orbit here. And then we'll probably coast to the apoapsis and circularize, and then we'll head out to Luna. So that will tell us if we are having enough DV here or not. And then, of course, the question is, how quickly does Luna move? I usually determine our transfer window by gut. So that's going to be interesting. We'll have to figure that out. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. If we're circularized, it's actually completely and totally okay. So we can see our apoapsis is going up right now. Our time to apoapsis is still going down, so we still need to continue to burn here for the moment. But that should be switching over fairly soon. Our lateral velocity is getting close to orbital. We're not quite there yet, but we do still see that we've got another 4 kilometers per second in this stage, so that should be reasonably fine. So our lateral velocity is 2.7. Our orbital velocity is 2.6, which is interesting, but whatever. I guess that's fine. And our periapsis is still non-existent. So we can see our time to apoapsis is pushing out at this point. So we should probably coast over to the apoapsis and raise up from there at this point. But I'm going to push it up to maybe like 200. We're going to have to push it up anyway. So we might as well go up to somewhere around 200. So we're at 160 right now. 165. And there's that periapsis coming up. Okay, throttling down a bit. That'll do. So we're in orbit at this point, and we're headed to the apoapsis here. Okay, so we're going to plan burn at the apoapsis, and we're just going to push this up to circularize. There we go. So that'll be fine, and let's head on over to that. Excellent. So this will be a 2-second burn. No problem whatsoever there. And we are circularized. We have 29% fuel left. Okay. So, of course, this is apparently Brigo. This is Luna out here. So these are the 3 moons at this point. It looks like we are missing a tech to know where their orbits are. So we should probably grab that tech. Let's go back to our career here. or actually not the career. I don't want to end the flight. How do we exit the flight without ending it? I'm sure there's a way to do that. Share sandbox, photo library, and settings. Okay, I'm going to quick save it here, and I would like to save flight. Yeah, exit the flight scene and keep this as an active craft in case you want to resume control of it later. Yes, save and exit. That's what we want. Fantastic. So I want to go in the tech tree now, and we want to be looking at... Let's see. Orbital maneuvers aren't really what I'm looking for here. Where was the map at? I think that was over here. That's planning maneuvers. Display orbit lines. Yeah, this is the tree that we want to be on, probably. So we've got the management board here and then mega constellations. That doesn't actually help us. Okay, so I'm just checking through here. Space travel gives us new contracts and the space capsule. Crew limit and the space habitat. Okay, so that's not the route I want to go. The question is, where is the route that we want to go? It's one of these, for sure. Rounded noses, hemisphere, yeah. Direct feedback, what we're looking for specifically is we are looking for getting us orbit lines for other bodies other than, you know, our current rocket. So I'm assuming there's a tech for that. Probably. This is all like jet engine stuff and propellers. So that's not it. Xenon ion engines, yeah. Aerospike engines. Understood. It's got to be in here somewhere, right? So that's a docking port, small bay, cargo bay. Doorless cargo bay, docking port size, yeah. Maybe it's not in here. Maybe we're not missing a tech. So we want to resume this flight. And the question is, if we go into the map view, and we were to select, say, Luna here, because we need to be in Luna's sphere of influence. We can assume that Luna is probably broadly equatorial, and we can also assume that it's probably going in something like that. So if we were to assume those things, question is, can we get patch conics? Let's select Drew for now, and if we were to hypothetically plan a burn at the, well, here, and burn prograde, and we push this way out, that gives us a thing. Is it an impact trajectory? It kind of looks like it. Doesn't it? But an impact trajectory would be fine. To be honest, I think we do it. So this is just purely by gut here. I was just guesstimating, and it appears to be about correct. So let's accelerate this on up. It's going to be about a 50-second burn, and we'll see what this orbit ends up looking like. We might have to complete this contract to be able to get the map view features that I'm looking for here. So if we look at this, so we go to the career here, we see that this is going to give us signing bonus and money, but it's a progression contract, so it'll probably be a prerequisite for doing something else. Oh, the game paused when we did that? Okay. Let's just continue here for now. Cool. So we're just pushing this right on up. We've got about 10 seconds of burn time left on this. I like it. So all we need to do is be in the sphere of influence. Okay. Well, let's warp to here. There we go. And it looks like this is still curved, so it looks like this is just a sphere of influence change. So let's go ahead and warp to about here. There we go. Excellent. And there's Drew down there, and presumably Luna is... Yeah, there's Luna. Cool. So at this point, we just need to enter the sphere of influence. So I'm going to warp forward a little further here. In fact, let's warp forward directly into the... Apparently we can't warp into the sphere of influence change. Okay, let's just warp to here. And we should enter that sphere of influence very soon. We'll just do that. Okay, so we have now entered into the sphere of influence of Luna, which apparently, I mean, that's all we need to do, is fly by it. Out of curiosity, we currently have a fair amount of delta V here, right? So we need to go into this view to be able to see how much. We have 2 kilometers per second. I'm just curious to know what an impact trajectory would cost us. Okay, so the braking burn here would be pretty hefty. But we could do it. So this vehicle is capable of crashing into Luna. That'd be about 800 meters per second. Okay, good to know. We don't actually need to know it, so this is fine. Let's just head on back, and we completed that contract. So now the question is, what's this next one? It wants us to do the same thing, but crew it. Okay, do we have the ability to crew rockets at this point? I mean, we could put our guy in a chair under the fairing. That'd be pretty funny. But yeah, we would have to get like a crew capsule if we wanted to do it that way. But I'm sure this will work. There are no problems whatsoever with this, right? This is not troll at all. Amazing. So we're just going to lift this right on off. It's apparently nighttime now. That's good to know. And I want to bring this over to a pitch of 60 degrees. There we go. So we are turning over with that reaction wheel. That sounds good. And I actually want to bring it to about 45 degrees. About like that. Okay. This is definitely not going to be trolling. This is a very real vehicle design. A very serious vehicle design. Amazing. Okay, so we're going to be losing our side boosters eventually, but we're progressing nicely for now. I'm wondering what our apoapsis currently is. Okay, about 24 kilometers. That's a bit on the lower side, but we're not surprised about that. We're getting a lot more lateral speed than we are vertical, so that is to be expected. But this is high enough of an apoapsis, I think. We should probably ditch these side boosters, but I'm going to let those fully burn out and then ditch them. There we go. Okay, and I'm now going to take this over to 0 degrees. And we can see our apoapsis is definitely plenty high, up over 100 kilometers. So that looks good. The fairing is needed to protect our Drew, no doubt about that. Or I guess Druid is, I think, the term. Okay, so these SRBs are entirely gone now. Let's go. Cool. So we've got plenty of altitude, no shock diamonds whatsoever, and let's just get ourselves a bunch of lateral velocity. So that looks good. We're 2.2 minutes to apoapsis, and this should be reasonably fine. We're going to be ditching our fairing and exposing our Drew to the vacuum of space very, very shortly here. Specifically, right about now. There we go. This is a very safe design, as you can see. No doubt about it. So, out of curiosity, do we have to recover this guy? because there's not a plan to recover him. We'll find out what happens if we don't. This doesn't say in the contract he needs to be recovered, so he's probably just going to stay there. Maybe we'll deposit him in orbit and we'll come pick him up later. That might not be a bad idea, actually. That would be a decent mission later on. So we're just going to continue to burn here once again until our apoapsis is about 200 kilometers. That'll be fine. We should probably remember to... Oh, I just right-clicked on that and it activated. That's interesting. That's good to know. So we're just going to continue to burn here for a while. We can see this is our surface velocity. Right now, I want to be in orbital velocity mode. Thank you very much. And, I mean, we're more interested in sea level altitude, but it's probably the same thing. Okay. So all is looking good here for now. So yeah, I'm wondering if we want to destroy this craft or not. I mean, there isn't any sort of like life support in this game. So we could just abandon him in orbit and leave him there and pick him up at some other time. That's probably what we're going to end up doing. I don't really want to destroy him, but there's definitely not a recovery plan here. I want to be very clear about that. There is currently no recovery plan. So that's exciting. We are up to 2,700 meters per second in orbital velocity right now. That's looking good. And our apoapsis is going to start going up very quickly soon. It is definitely increasing time to apoapsis, so we are in a good position here. There we go. Now the apoapsis is starting to go up more quickly. So 160, 168, 170, 175, 180, 185, 190, and almost there. 200. Perfect. So now at this apoapsis, I want to do a burn, and we're just going to look to circularize this on up. Nice and easy. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. I say as I continue to try to make it perfect. This is absolutely good enough. But there we go. We're going for perfect. Excellent. So let's position for that burn, and we are, of course, going to be bringing that up shortly. There we go. Burn is executing. So the next thing that we're going to do is head out to Luna. There we go. And we can definitely see that we're in a decent orbit here. So Luna is this one out over here. Noted. So once again, I want to select Drew. I'm thinking a burn about here. Prograde. And let's see what that ends up looking like. It's an encounter, but it's not a great encounter. I don't care for that timing. So let's bring this guy back and angle for an encounter a bit more like that. That's a better encounter. Okay, looks good. So let's warp around to that and commence that burn. 1.26 kilometers per second. I like it. So that's about a 1-minute burn there. And as I said, we're probably just going to leave this guy in Luna's orbit. And we'll do a rescue mission once we have the capability of doing that. As of right now, there's no capability of a rescue mission. We haven't researched things like parachutes and re-entry pods. Those are going to be pretty necessary. No doubt about it. But we're starting to get into crewed spaceflight, so we should probably research those things. For now, I just want to get this contract completed, and let's head on over. So we'll just drop this guy in a relatively low orbit here. Or relatively high orbit, actually. Okay, so we're going to be heading around to, well, we're going to do a planned burn at the periapsis here. Actually, I think we should probably just warp to here. This is no longer showing an encounter. Uh-huh. Why is this no longer showing an encounter? Because it definitely was before. Well, we can go ahead and lock ourselves to one of these radials. I'm not sure which one, actually. It probably is, yeah, radial out. And there's an encounter. Okay, beautiful. So that puts us into this encounter here. Now we're going to want to warp over to the actual encounter starting. I want to do a planned burn at the periapsis. This is not at the periapsis, so we're going to have to change our sphere of influence. So let's just cruise forward until we change the sphere of influence. There we go. And now, at this periapsis, I want to do a retrograde burn. And we're just going to look to circularize this here. We're planting this guy around Luna. Just leaving him here. And we could just circularize this up to be 6,097. Okay, this is close enough. We'll go ahead and execute that. And 5, 4, 3, 2, aborting auto burn not achievable. What? Just lock velocity retrograde. And I guess we'll manually do this. Okay. Maybe we don't have the fuel. That might be the case. But let's just bring this on down. And we're just looking to get an orbit here. Okay, there we go. Cool. So that puts us into an orbit, and this will be absolutely fine for now. I'm really not too concerned about anything else. We can end this flight, but we should probably save the flight. And save and exit. There we go. So that completes that mission, and this is Orbit Brigo. This we don't need to have somebody in, but I want to do a rescue mission next. But it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to do a rescue mission to bring back that Druid, and then we are absolutely going to be continuing these progression contracts. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.